From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
All right, so welcome to the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk. This is the bonus news podcast and video for Edge of the Web Radio, episode 355, I think, Jake. That's the number? All right. And I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, and joining me in this news podcast is Katy Mann, founder of Indie with Kids. Katy, we're going to look at our first article right now. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
We're good. I love the potted plants.
Thank you.
They're like your friends.
Yes.
All
These
right.
days.
We're all having more relationships with our plants than ever before. All right. From social media today, Facebook publishes the new report on the impact of COVID-19 on small businesses. This week, Facebook actually published a new report to shed some more light on this, incorporating responses from over 86,000 people who own, manage, or work for small and medium-sized businesses. The data also included 9,000 operators of personal, quote-unquote, businesses, people who reported that they were self-employed, providing goods and services. And this is an article from Andrew Hutchinson. So here's the deal, is that they do a number of different reportings on a regular basis, and the report actually provides a range of insights into the SMB sentiment, and may also highlight rising areas of opportunity moving forward. You can check out the entire article on the show notes here, but overarching, the report actually gives some scale up as to how many businesses may have actually been significantly impacted by COVID-19 lockdowns, with a look at the percentage of small businesses in each sector. So, rolling through here, and if Jacob, you can pull up the screen real quick. You had around 18% agriculture and forestry and fishing. Construction was about 22%. Hotels, cafes, restaurants, over 40%, around 42%. Information and communications industry, over 20%. Logistics, over 30%. Manufacturing, 20%, retail is about 23%, and services general were also a good deal higher at 40%. That's the breakdown. And as per Facebook, what they said was, according to the survey, 31% of small and medium-sized businesses have shut down entirely in the last 3 months. The situation is worse for personal businesses, 52% of which reported shutting down. Hotels and cafes and restaurants, 43%, and services like wellness, grooming, fitness, and other professional services at a whopping 41%. Most of these trends are what you would expect with high exposure businesses going into forced hibernation. But it is interesting to note the scope of the impacts, with all the sectors seeing some closures there. So certainly jump over to social media today. We'll have it in the show notes. But Katy, what's your thoughts on what Facebook's doing to relate some of this information?
Well, I hadn't seen their reports like this in the past. So I was wondering if you know where that data came from, because I know that they offered some relief. Mm-hmm. And I wondered if maybe those were people that were surveyed trying to apply for that relief at all.
Got it.
But yeah, it's interesting, and it kind of aligns with what I've seen as far as services that we use as a family being shut down. I mean, definitely personal care, restaurants having a hard time, and we can just hope that everybody can come out of this in some way.
Absolutely. And I don't know where they got the data. I think that it was an internal canvassing inside of Facebook, where I don't know if there was any particular connection to whether or not they were actually looking for any type of financial aid. But I mean, the long story short is, we certainly know that the impact is right in front of us, but we just don't know the timing. We don't know if this is if these businesses are going to be permanently shut down, or there's a temporary status. I mean, I think it's a mixed bag of nuts here, and unfortunately, we're going to be talking about this in the show, is that there are companies that are forced to pivot and deliver different types of services, and that is that watershed moment of whether or not the companies have the opportunity or the skills to be able to pivot to something a bit more online or a different service model, right?
Right. Definitely.
It's a deep dive into this content, and albeit they were referencing e-commerce accounted for only 16% of the total retail sales in 2019. You better believe we're going to see a huge pivot there.
Huge. I mean, just judging from my own experience and what I'm doing.
Yep.
Definitely.
We know our Amazon Prime deliverers by name, and we feed them cookies every time they come to the door.
Right. And there's always so much emphasis on shopping local and things like that. But a lot of times local hasn't been made available during this time.
Right.
And if you're not supposed to leave and you're supposed to stay in as much as you can, it has just been convenient, really. But I have taken advantage of a lot of the curbside offerings.
Yep.
And I hope those stick around, because as a mom with young kids,
absolutely,
did not have to drag my kids in somewhere. Oh my gosh, this could be a silver lining.
I think so. And we're going to find some of these new hybrid scenarios coming out of COVID is that, I mean, it's always happening whenever you get right there, and then they're starting to fight in the back of the car, and you're at the parking lot, and you have that moment going, okay, I would love to go in, but how can I how can I do this to other people that are trying to have a nice night?
Right. Or they forgot their shoes, or someone started falling asleep. I mean, It's been so nice. We go everywhere without shoes in the car now.
Oh my. Didn't know that's a thing. That could be very much a thing. All right, so we certainly want to give thanks to our sponsor. Ahrefs is a continued sponsor for Edge. Ahrefs makes competitive analysis very easy online. Their tools show you how competitors are getting their traffic, as well as why they're getting their traffic, what keywords they're ranking for, what content they're ranking for that sends them the most links. So you can find out all the exact words that your competitor's ranking on, and you can put together a strategy to be able to go take their lunch, right? So if you're not getting significant search traffic, go check out Ahrefs. That's ahrefs.com. And they actually have a new feature of kind of a multi-account environment where you have additional members of your team that can actually drill down into different projects. So you might want to check that out, ahrefs.com. All right, so let's swing back around to our second article here from Fox News. Now, check this out. Everybody, I would love to be able to have a play from home and then see what the buzzers would go off on this one. From Fox News, restaurants, salons institute coronavirus surcharges causing social media backlash. It's not just for restaurants. A dentist's office in Jacksonville, Florida reported started charging a $10 per appointment fee for personal protective equipment. And in Texas, some hair salons have started charging an additional $3 sanitation charge, according to KTRK TV in Houston. All right, so there's the deal, is that we're getting back into some sort of phase two easing of opening up of different organizations, different high volume type of facilities, but adding a charge to an economy that has already suffered so much during this period of time, is that the wisest thing to do business in? Katie, what do you think about that?
You know, I really had to think this over, because I noticed it first during the shutdown when there was a local pottery place that was asking people to give them business by picking up these take-home kits. And they were charging an extra line item. And it was I don't even remember how they classified it. And I remember thinking oh, why are they charging extra? We're not going into their facility. We're not using their restrooms, their toilet paper. They don't have to clean up after us. And so it bothered me a little bit, but then I started thinking about it. And honestly, as long as you're upfront about that charge, as long as you give that consumer the opportunity to decide this is not what they want to do,
right,
then I guess I'm okay with it. How you run your business is totally fine. But I think in the case of a restaurant where you eat your meal and then you're smacked with this charge,
right,
it's pretty frustrating. So I feel as long as when I make my appointment, you tell me, hey, the price of your haircut has gone up, or we're also going to be charging a fee. I don't think that it's out of the norm for businesses to raise their prices when things in the world are raised in prices as well. But it does hurt. I will tell you that when you're giving someone business in a time where you really don't have to, it's non-essential, it does hurt. But I don't judge how you want to run your business as
Right.
long as you're transparent and honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Sliding it in as an additional fee without communicating it overtly. Jacob, if you actually throw that screenshot back up, literally there was right underneath the sales tax on that particular graphic was a COVID-19 surcharge. I mean, this was not a line item. This was actually added into the system, right? And boy, if you aren't prepared for that, that's a shocker. Just that you'd have that delivered to you. But here's the other thing: is that are we about to go into this as an additional budget item? Is that all of our real world interactivity is going to have a price to pay? Yeah, look at that one. Literally $1 fee there in order to keep supplying our Conasad products. A surcharge will be applied and may vary with the behavior of the market. All right. Well, that's almost like an immediate tax on people to do business outside. So you wanted us to come back into the marketplace. You wanted us to actually bring some foot traffic. Everybody's dying to get out, but you're actually going to tax individuals to come out. I don't know. I'm a bit bit gun shy of that particular scenario. All right, last one here, and we'll wrap up with this. From the Daily Mail, from Bhvishya Patel, Zoom users suffer problems as they report video conferencing app going down across the UK. Users of the video conferencing service Zoom were left experiencing audio and visual problems earlier today after the platform went down. And they had a number of different graphics and a good deal of social unrest, so to speak, as the platform shut down. Around 343 reported problems for the platform during the, according to Down Detector. The company will resolve the issue and will ensure that no further operational impact will occur. Well, it's to be expected, guys. This software, these platforms were not built yet to handle the enormity of connectivity that's going on there. So, Katie, give us those thoughts. Do you use Zoom, and would you run them up the flagpole because they shut down on you? Did we lose her?
Sorry, I lost some audio.
Oh, okay.
We had a Zoom problem when we were talking about Zoom problems.
We did have a
This is
Zoom
the most
problem. They're
amazing.
spying on us. Personally, we did experience this. My mother-in-law was retiring from a position at a church. And if you notice the time that it went down when, everybody was using it for church. And so I know our church readjusted and they ended up redoing it at 3 p.m. instead. But it was right in that peak hour for Sunday morning, which, when you think of Zoom and you think of business, you wouldn't necessarily think Sunday morning would be, peak. But it was a church hour. Lots of people are paying to use this service. They've given away a lot of their opportunities to people as well. So we all just have to learn to adjust. I think if there's anything that we've learned in the last 3 months, it's got to be this.
A little bit of forgiveness goes a long way, especially with what they're doing. Be great to be a Zoom stockholder. I think we experienced Zoomception. This is what we, All right. Well, those are the articles. Really appreciate your input there. Kate, we're going to do a quick gauntlet of what's going on in search volatility real quick. So here's your Google update, folks, for May 18th, 2020. Yeah, let's check in on this core update. As it is right now, SEMrush is reporting about an 8.1 on the volatility. This has not stopped here over the course of the last 30 days. Look at that, which is crazy. Obviously, we talked a lot about it last couple of shows here. Danny Sullivan confirmed that there was a Google core update that rolled out May 4th. So we're now in 2 weeks now, and there's been a lot of discussion of what's transpired. So over at Moz is running around 81 degrees weathercast, so you can certainly see the huge spike that we had, and things are still unstable to a particular degree. Over at Cognitive, things are calming down a little bit more on their side of the fence. You can see that we're in a good deal more friendly waters from Cognitive's reporting tool. And to finalize and round up this Rank Ranger, you can certainly see the high spike of the core update, and Rank Ranger is showing a pretty calm environment. But I want to show you something else over at Rank Ranger. We really love their search features, because you can actually kind of unpack some of these key elements that search is made up of. Video carousel has been growing a number of different points here since the 20th or 19th of April. They have actually jumped a good 2 solid percentage points in visibility over the course of the last few weeks. And then on top of that, feature snippets have also jumped from the actual core update into, I think we're looking at about 3 percentage points of all queries. And look at this, to kind of wrap up everything, related questions. People also ask questions have dropped substantially. Before the update, they were running at around 43% of search queries. They're now down to under, or right at 40%. So with all that, there's some major volatility in these different areas of search. Make sure that you watch these tools and be able to have a look at your own site listings, because if you're not paying attention to where you are, you don't know whether or not you're a piece of cyber driftwood or not, right? So with all that, we want to make sure that that's the wrap for this week, Edge News. Be sure to check out the full interview with Katy Mann, linked to this podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get updated every time we go live each and every week of the show. And make sure if you can, go over to edgeofthewebradio.com. Fill out the anonymous poll. Let us know how we're doing and what you'd like to hear more of from the show. So from all of us over at Edge of the Web Radio, do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.